On? I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here with my good friend Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. How you doing today, T?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing very well. Not, I'm probably doing better than Diddy. Diddy is going through it, and there have been some updates to his little situation. Um, Stuff involving like dildos and baby oil. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, the stories that are coming are just kind of crazy, and I don't even want to. I think we've already said the words that reflect the kind of nastiness of it all and the freak offs, but it looks to me like I don't think he can't even get out on bail, right? Is that correct?
No, he can't get out on bail. He was denied his appeal today.
Okay, interesting.
Mhm.
So it's almost like Diddy is sort of being seen almost like a mob boss kind of figure, like he's really like they're just looking at him as a dangerous character. Like they, so what do you, I mean, in the Southern District of New York, when they file charges on you, that's not a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do their homework. So what are your thoughts? I mean, you're a member of the entertainment industry, and you've probably been invited to some of these crazy Hollywood parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think other people are saying about this? People that maybe went to those parties and participated in some of this stuff. How do you think they're observing some of this?
I think some of them are on alert because they've taken these hundreds of hours of footage and they could potentially be in them participating in those freak offs. So if I was anybody that's ever been to a Diddy party, I would be nervous right now, especially if you know that you were involved.
Okay. Why do you think it happened now?
Well, I think that, it's been what, 25 years, 30 years in the making. This is not the first time we've heard that Diddy has done some foul shit to someone, right? Like, I just think it's his time. I don't think he can avoid karma. I think all the things that he's done that's been awful to people is now coming to bite him in the tail. I think that, the fact that they found dildos at his place and video and thousands of bottles of baby oil is really like a man that is just not mindful that he can be caught, like that he feels like he's untouchable. There's an arrogance there that's like,
Mm,
you know, so what? Like, this is what I'm doing. I got guns at the house. Who's gonna take me down?
okay. Well, I think that the toys and the oil, well, it's not that it's first of all, there's nothing illegal about those things, right?
No, no.
But it does indicate a mental health issue,
Yeah.
right? Like we need 1,000 bottles of baby oil. That's a lot of babies that ain't
I
getting the
know.
oil now because you done cornered the market. Okay,
He was
like
trying to buy Johnson and Johnson.
the baby sitting there like, damn, man, I'm getting rashes and shit. I mean, this is not fair, you know. So that's so unless you are the most fertile human being on the planet or you're running like the biggest daycare on earth, you don't need 1,000 bottles of baby oil, right?
Unless
Let's
you're
just
just
start
gross.
there. So,
If
but
you're just gross.
which is just nasty. That's just
Yeah.
I don't even want to keep thinking about it. Jeremy said, "Take that, take that, take that."
Sliding, sliding, sliding,
Right.
slide.
So
Slide.
okay, so apparently there's a lot of sliding around at Diddy parties. Um, and so what it speaks to, let's start there actually,
Sure.
because I don't want to just talk about just the extravagance of what's happening right now. Like
Yeah.
anybody can kind of gossip about Diddy and his fate, and I don't wish pain on anyone, right? But I do think that there's a sickness there, right?
Yeah.
It almost what makes you wonder because like with R. Kelly, things were just so extreme.
Yeah.
Just so many women, so many nasty things happening, and and you see this repetitively. You hear
Mhm.
this from some celebrities. Even celebrities that haven't got caught up. When but you can hear them kind of hint at what can happen when you have just that much excess and you're just seeking the bigger and bigger high. Because I know LL's written about it. Will
Mhm.
Smith's written about it. Like when you have these males that have this money and power and their sex symbols or whatever, and there's no boundaries, it seems like sometimes it can end up in this corner, and then nobody helps you because everyone thinks it's okay because you're rich and you're famous. Tell me about that in terms of what you might have seen in your experience in Hollywood, just sort of dealing with people that come from that sort of space.
Yeah. Never hearing no is a dangerous drug. Never, just having, like you said, having access to everything. I mean, I've definitely been to a few parties in my day, and, you too can have access. There's all these different rooms and so many things going on. And my 20-year-old brain knew even then, like, okay, all right, well, this was nice. It's time to go home. Like after a certain hour, it gets a little dark. And if you don't have a moral compass, you don't know who you are before you get here, you can get swept up in those things too. So thank God that I just always kind of was like, I don't want to do that. I'm not into that. So I'm gonna go home. But because I think once you start to say like one thing is okay, then like it's something weird. You're like, okay, well, I'll try this once. It's after a while you see that thing is not so bad. So you just kind of go with it.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I lost Tierra, but can y'all still hear me? Let me know if you can still hear
Siri,
me.
turn on Do Not Disturb.
There we go. Tell Siri to turn on Do Not Disturb. I'm gonna pull you down so you can get it all together. Then when you're ready, just give me a thumbs up, T. So it looks like Tierra's had some technical difficulties, but I'll bring her right back. But it sounds to me like what she's talking about is just the drug of fame, the drug of wealth, the drug of power. And we talk about money every day. You guys know we do money in the morning. We have a financial consciousness class every single morning at 10 a.m. You can join for free. I'll put the link up here. But one of the biggest things that I want to help you guys kind of understand is that money is a drug. Money will turn you into somebody that almost looks like an addict. It'll make you extreme. And so, as you sort of receive all the blessings that I hope are coming your way, I hope you also have some things in your life that matter more than money. And that'll help you sort of have that moral compass Tierra was talking about. Now, I think Tierra is ready. And by the way, if you want to join the Money in the Morning class for free, just go to b1moneytips.com. We meet tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And my goal is to sit there as a finance professor and talk to you about money in all different ways. I did a whole bunch of Q&As today. And so I'd love to help you just, and it doesn't cost you anything to join the class. So let me bring T in. Let's see. Hey,
Sorry
T,
about
you
that.
back?
Sorry about that. Yes.
That's okay. All right. So you were saying that you were talking about the moral compass and Hollywood and everything else. Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's just important to have that before you get here. You have to know who you are. We were talking to I've been seeing comments on the internet basically with people saying like, "Oh, these girls are not victims. Cassie wasn't a victim." And I think it's so interesting to that people have so much arrogance to think that they can't get swept up in this lifestyle. Just me being here, I put myself in Cassie's 19-year-old shoes, coming to LA, saying, I want to be an actress and a singer, and then meeting this prominent, very successful man and allowing him to use that to abuse me. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's happened to me, right? Not to the point where he's taken sexual advantage of, but I see how people manipulate others, and if they're young and they know that you want an opportunity, it's very easy to get swept up and just say you're just like, this is some weird shit, but I'm gonna just go with it because I want an opportunity. I moved here for a reason, and but after it gets a little too weird, you got to get out. But some people don't, So I've just been seeing a lot of things online where they're like, I don't understand how someone could allow something to happen to them like this, but I can see it because I see it all the time.
Well, you know what? One thing that comes to my mind, Tierra KJ Williams, that's who I'm talking to, by the way. One thing that comes to my mind about this is I think that there's room to have a discussion about joint accountability.
Mm,
Not to the point where you let Diddy off the hook at all, and not to the point where you either completely victim blame or whatever it is, right? Like I
mhm,
think, or I think all that's kind of too much and not right. I would say that there is a conversation that has to be had about the obvious things, like a common sense conversation. And by the way, I want everybody to kind of give me a yes in the chat if you agree that an all black B1 intelligent black conversation about this has to be different from a mainstream media conversation. Give me a yes if you agree, if we can have a common sense conversation where we're not
mhm,
trying to be politically correct. We're not, trying to just sort of fit whatever the media narrative is. I want to really understand this so we can protect our kids, right? I
mhm,
want to understand this so we can protect our men, protect our women. Because even Diddy, to some extent, I'm not saying he's a victim now, but he started as a victim of a culture that somehow helped him to conclude that it was okay to just break every boundary and go out here and act a damn fool and put yourself in a situation where you might be facing 100 years in prison. I don't care if anybody says I'm gonna start right there, and I hope everyone gets why I'm starting here. Diddy is not a stupid man. Give me a yes if we can agree on that. He's a talented man. Give me a yes if you think that he has talent. Give me a yes if you think he could have been an executive of any kind of company. He was a leader, right? So the biggest question I think that Black people have to start with, one of the big questions is, just starting on the Diddy side of things, is how do you take a super talented young Black man, who could have been one of our very best, and turn him into what looks like the freaking devil? Turn him into a weird, perverted, crazy lunatic who's accused of blowing up people's cars, beating up on women, taking men's booties in the middle of the night, having a whole bathroom full of baby oil. I mean, just keeping it real. Like, that's what it is. It's crazy. He's described now. He's been reduced from a guy who's on the cover of Forbes magazine to being like one of the most degenerate human beings on the planet. Right? I mean, he's a notch above a Jeffrey Dahmer type. Right? He just didn't kill anybody. Well, see, scratch that. I messed that up, right? He's accused of killing people, right? So, because all those people that died in his circle. So my point is to start by saying, we got to look at the culture, man. We do. This culture, this crazy, this sort of anything goes sort of lifestyle, and this idea, where you are young and Black and you sit in an office of a Clive Davis or something, and they make you somehow believe that it's okay for you to act this way, where Diddy really needed to have, some older Black male in particular, I believe, who was in his ear saying, don't you fall for what those white folks are handing you. Don't you fall for the banana in the tailpipe, brother, because if you do, that's a funny analogy, right? The banana in the tail. I guess.
Boy,
the joke tells itself. The joke tells itself. So anyway, so you need a mentor. You need a real mentor that really cares about you and doesn't care about all the fame and the BS. Who's going to say, don't you do that, Black man? They're going to tell you how much they love you. They're going to cheer you on. And then when you get to the end and you ain't making money for them, they're going to string your Black butt up and have you out here looking crazy and embarrassing your family, ruining your legacy, harming your children. They even took the damn baby's passport. Even the baby. The baby's a flight risk. I said, damn, they done took the 1-year-old, had her passport confiscated. That's crazy. So what do you think about that, Tiara? Is there a way to kind of talk about it just starting there, in terms of just this culture that we all love and we're all excited about it, and we really think this is what's lit? There ain't nothing lit about 100 years in prison.
No.
Tiara, please.
As a person that used to, Boyce, this about me. I used to have Diddy on my wall. Most young girls had Usher. I had Diddy. There was something, I don't know if this is shiny suits, but he seemed like, just like you said, like a leader. He was the one that was running things. Like, I was like, ooh, I like that. And so all the way up and through college, like it was me. So I am like the Diddy fan. I just saw him as a boss. I thought he was making it happen. But like, as things have started to come out, I read most of the court documents. As a woman, I just can't see him as Black excellence anymore. Unfortunately, I can't separate the two. I had a discussion with a good friend of mine who was just like, yeah, I mean, but look at what he's done for the community. I was like, yeah, but if in the middle of that he was scamming and beating women up. I mean, in some of the documents it said that he was punching women in the face right in the middle of a meeting, and and Jimmy Iovine types were still allowing him to sign the documents to have these big deals. And people just ignored it. I was like, is that excellence? I thought about myself. If I was in this situation and he robbed me of a record deal, if he beat me up, if he did all these things, would I still be able to turn a blind eye and say, oh, but he's so excellent? My daughter, it's just so for me personally, the man that I won't lie to you, I held on a pedestal in a way, just like I hold you on a pedestal, Boyce, as a leader, as this thing to be. I no longer can do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's one of those things where it's not like it was hard to predict that there was something crazy going on.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. It's not like this blindsided us and completely came out of nowhere. There were so many people who had these crazy toxic experiences with this man.
Yeah.
And the fact that the majority of the people that met him just gave him instant admiration, instant respect.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the big problems with money is that a lot of us just love people that have money and power. We love them because white people put them on TV.
Hmm.
And you don't think 1 second about the content of that person's character. You're
Yeah.
not the only person I know who grew up really looking up to Diddy as kind of the prototype
Yeah.
of what they wanted to be. Like that was the template, that was the blueprint, that was the guy. And and this is not, and again, this is not new. This is not a surprise. 20, 30 years ago, there were people who were like, why would you look at that guy and think he's the guy? This guy's a drug addict.
Hmm.
Oh, but you like him because his album made you dance and because he signed a $50 million deal. This is that degenerate BET nonsense
Yeah.
where they will promote this. I mean, BET is just as guilty as he is to some extent, in the sense that even when R. Kelly was accused of doing horrible things to children, when that first videotape came out,
Hmm.
BET stood behind him 10 toes down. They
Yeah.
put him all up on the award show, gave him the longest set. They didn't just let him perform. He had a 15-minute performance. Who has
Yeah.
a 15-minute performance at an award show? Right?
Yeah.
And so my point is to say that this is the problem, that we end up valuing the shiny flashy stuff. Diddy to some extent was iconic in the sense that he represented in an era where flash was loved more than substance.
Yeah.
And the thing is, here's the thing: there's going to be another Diddy right behind him. There's always some Negro somewhere smiling and dancing who we admire and look up to as some sort of representation of black excellence. Where there's nothing excellent about this Negro, he can't even read, or he's doing horrible things to women and children, or whatever, and or he's a drug addict or a degenerate, don't even take care of his kids, and
Yeah.
we still cheer it on because white folks are giving him money. Does everybody understand that this is a type of colonialism? Like this is how colonizers operate. They strategically use their money and their power to get you to admire the wrong people and to ignore the right people. The people that want to liberate you, they get you to hate your liberators and love your incarcerators. So
Mm.
so so let me ask you this, Tiara. So let's
Yeah.
now switch over from Diddy. Okay.
Okay.
So we talked about him. Again, I think a lot of times you'll see where perpetrators start off as victims. I think Diddy was a victim of a nonsense culture that's going to cost him everything. I think he's going to lose all his wealth. He's going to lose his freedom, most likely. He's already lost it.
Yeah.
And also, remember, you're talking about a man who's addicted. It sounds like he's had some addictions. I wonder,
Yeah.
not just sexual, but they talked about finding him with the drugs and all that.
Yeah.
So he's going through hell right now. He's in a jail cell where he can't get access to all the things that he used to use to self-medicate. So that's going to really be a tough experience for him.
Yeah.
But then again, he's Diddy, so you can only have so much sympathy there. But now you go to the other side, right? You go to all the people who were victims of Diddy. And
Yeah.
I think that's debatable, right? Like there are some people in the chat, and I want you to address this. There are some people in the chat who are basically saying, look, a lot of these people wanted to come to the parties. A lot of these people wanted to be around him. They were trying to use him. They didn't know they were going to get used in the process. What do you say to people like that who are like, look, these are grown adults with all the baby oil in the world and all the baby oil in the free time that they can handle. Um, what do you say to people like that who
Yeah.
have that sentiment?
Yeah, I think sometimes you just have to have a little bit of you got to put yourself in their shoes, right? Yes, you do go to those parties to network. You do go to those parties to say like how can I, take it to the next level and be part of this wonderful culture. Well, it seems wonderful from the outside. I mean, it seems amazing to go to a Rock Nation brunch or a Diddy party. Like nobody doesn't want to do that, right? But you go there and you realize that it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be. And so to those people that say that they were they were grown, there is an accountability I feel like some of the victims have to take for sure. But I do think with people having power, they know what they have and they use it to their advantage. They are predators in a way that take advantage of people that aren't as strong as you all in the comments. You all would never be caught up in that, and I'm so glad that you wouldn't, but there are a fraction of the community that will be caught up, that are coming from absolutely nothing. I remember when Don Richard was coming. I remember watching Making the Band, and I read her court documents last night, but I remember her coming from New Orleans. And at the time, there was really nothing. If you've ever lived in New Orleans like myself, you know that there's a lot of poverty for Black people in New Orleans. So she got on the show and was like, "This, there's nothing for me back there. So I got to make this work. I have to make it work." And whatever that means. And so, unfortunately, she said in the documents that he will walk by and rub her titty and be like, "I see you, Dawn." Oh, tap her ass and rub it and all of that. And she would just take it, just because there's nothing back there to go to in New Orleans. So I know there's people that don't understand what that's like, and that'll never understand what it's like to like want something so bad that you're like, "I gotta take this. He's Diddy. I can't go against him because he might murder me." He's telling you, "I got guns in the house." He's flashing them around. He's saying, "You say something, I'll kill you."
Mhm.
Like that. I just think that intimidation is a thing. I think that using your power is a thing, and they know how to do it very well, and they can manipulate you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do hear that 100%, and I want to let everybody know I'm talking to Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood, and we're talking about kind of the economics of what's going on with Diddy, as well as just the facts and the cultural aspect of it. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and also Tierra happens to be an expert on using storytelling to build your brand and to build your business. So if you'd like to do a consultation with her, you can send her an email at info@therealnetwork.net. And real is spelled REEL, and it's .net, not .com. So I'll leave her email address up there if you want to reach out to her. And also, I see a question here. Thank you, Be Easy, for your donation. First off, he says you're asking about Jerome Powell in that press conference on the economy. Yeah, that's a great point, Be Easy, and thank you for asking about that. A lot of you all that follow the stock market know that today was a very big day in the market. Today, the Fed made an announcement to do the first interest rate cut in 5 years. I think 4.5, 5 years, and they did a half a point. I thought they were going to do a quarter point. They did a half a point, and the market went up quite a bit today, and a lot of money was made. So congratulations on that. If you want to see my assessment on it, go to my Instagram page. On my Instagram page, which is Dr. Boyce Money, I did put an assessment up there in terms of a quick review of what was there. I'll do a deeper follow up perhaps tomorrow morning in Money in the Morning class. But if you follow me at Dr. Boyce Money, you can actually see my immediate response to that question. I'm glad you asked that question, and I'll put my Instagram right there on the page. So feel free to follow me there, and I'll break that down. Also, I'll go live on that Instagram page tomorrow morning. So while we do Money in the Morning, so we could talk then. All right. So let's move back to the Diddy thing. So here, I'm gonna lay out a couple of things in terms of just mindset and in the financial side of Diddy, because there is a wealth protection issue here. A lot of people that want to hear me talk about, they come and listen to me talk about economics and all that because that's my background. I talk a lot about wealth protection. And one thing I tell people is that wealth protection isn't just about things like insurance and all and LLCs. It's really even your behavior, who you hang out with, who you associate with. And Diddy's brand was very, very fragile. He had a very fragile brand from the very beginning. And the reason his brand was fragile was because his whole corporate brand, it was built on one guy. He was a walking corporation. He was similar to what Elon Musk does, the same thing. And what people don't know is that is a huge risk factor. That's what they call key man risk. When you have one guy who is the guy, and the guy is pulling this multi-billion-dollar entity where all these people are dependent on the guy to keep their job and everything else. Well, if something happens to the guy, if he gets arrested, if his reputation gets ruined, if he goes to jail, well, a lot of people lose their jobs. So ultimately, Diddy, what was problematic about Diddy's choices was not just all the baby oil and the crazy stuff. It was also him doing all this while knowing so many people are dependent upon him to keep their job. I mean, Bad Boy Records was on his back. That whole vodka brand was on his back for a while. He has Revolt TV on his back. There were thousands of entrepreneurs, I think, that signed up. He had a black business owners thing or something where they were going to sell their black owned businesses on this platform. And when Diddy gets into his nonsense, all these business owners are like, damn, I'm losing money now because this guy, can't keep his baby oil in his bathroom. Like he up here trying to lube up the half the country while he's trying to sort of run this big empire. What do you think about what I just said? I'm not even going to ask a question, but I personally think that. Well, let me just say this. I'll give my recommendation on this, and then I'd like to get your thoughts. One thing you should be careful about is letting your whole brand be dependent on the reputation of one person. And if it is dependent on the reputation of one person, that person's going to have to be really thoughtful about the things that he does and she does or gets involved with, because everything can just kind of crumble overnight. Tierra.
I love what you just said. And unfortunately, if it's not, Diddy knew who he was. He knows who he is. I think he really thought that he was untouchable in a sense of like, I built this thing. I spent 30 years building it. There's no way one accusation can knock it down. I think he thought he had all the lawyers in place that could fight or argue any case. It really, and to be honest, Boyce, up until we saw the video of him and Cassie, I think he was good. He could say like, she lying. I mean, I gave her $30 million, but she lying. Just so you know that. I'm not admitting guilt, but she lying. And then we saw the video and we saw him like not only just like dragging her by the hair, but like just kicking and stomping and slapping, and it kind of like it changed the game a bit, for everything. And so I think that you're absolutely right. If you're into that type of activity and you rough around the edges or whatever his deal is, but it's so interesting. I guess I got a question for you. When you are the brand, when you are the guy, right? You're the guy of people come to see you. We're all going to A, B, and C next month, but ultimately people are coming there for you. How do you protect your brand, and how do you keep from just being the guy?
Um, okay, I accept the idea that in some spaces I'm the guy. I'm not Diddy. I can't dance
No,
as he does, right? But
no.
but in some spaces I might be the guy. But one thing that I have always sort of consistently tried to do is what would be referred to as leadership diversification.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that even if you are the guy, you have to prepare for when you can't be the guy anymore. You have to have things in place. And I don't announce what I have in place because I don't want adversaries to know everything we got in store. I don't want them to know about our plan B, our plan C, our plan D, and our plan E.
Yeah.
But in my doctoral program, I spent a lot of time studying risk management under a guy named Renee Stoltz, who's one of the most respected risk management experts on the earth. You can look him up. He's a brilliant Swiss guy.
Mm.
And so one of the things that I learned from kind of reading, going through his textbooks and all that was you got to always kind of plan for things to go bad. Because the thing about reputational damage is that it doesn't always have to be true. I've had people accuse me of things where I'm like, I didn't do that. I don't even know that person. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And sometimes the world doesn't make it. They don't sort out fact from fiction, and they just
Yeah.
can run with the narrative. And like you saw when Alicia and I got married, and people had all these stories about why we got married and what was going on, and Willie D, who's a friend of mine, and all that. And it's like, man, how do you stop this? You can't, right? And so part of the way I kind of deal with that, number one, is I engage with my people a lot. So that even if they hear something weird, they'll be like, well, I saw Boyce yesterday, and this is the side of him that I saw, and this is the side that I like, and I'm getting value from that. The second piece, though, is that when you are sort of the guy, you should be diversifying in the sense that, for example, the All Black National Convention, in 1 year, I remember telling the team, I said, don't put my picture everywhere. Stop putting my picture up like I'm the most important person here. I'm not the most important person here. The idea is why we're here. We're gathered around an idea. The idea is Black wealth, Black love, Black intelligence, Black families. Like, that's why we're here. So, and the reason I said that to them was because I was like, well, because one day if the world decides that they hate me, I don't want people to start hating B1 culture or hating Black intelligence because they think I'm an asshole. Like, no, I might be an asshole, but you still gonna be Black, and being Black is still beautiful. That you still have a job to do, right? And so part of what I've always criticized this, because this happens in Black leadership. We got too many divas out here that are that are trying to be Black leaders or trying to be business leaders. They're divas. Like it's like, why do you need all the attention? Tyler Perry, why does every movie you make, I love you, man, but why is it that every movie you make is written by you, directed by you, produced by you? Hey, get
The
somebody else the
cameraman.
spotlight, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if because I mean, ain't no telling, because you saw when the Boondocks, was writing about Tyler Perry culture, right? And they had him looking like a notch below Diddy, but same amount of baby oil, just no killings to go with it. But you know what I'm talking about. You
I
remember what
do know what you're talking about.
right. You know what I'm talking about, right? So
Yes.
so my thought is, if you're smart, you're gonna support other people, elevate other people, develop an institutional framework. Stop making it all about you,
Mm.
so that number one, you're doing the right thing by giving other people a chance, and then number two, you're protecting yourself by having other successful people around you, and maybe some of those people can support you. Like, so for example, if we get mad about something that happens in the Jewish community, it's not like there's one Jewish leader that we can point to and say, that's get that guy. There's no
Mm.
one, not one person. There's organizations and institutions. There's the Anti-Defamation League, and it's like, we'll get all of them. We'll get the whole league, and you don't know who to get mad at, right? Or
Yeah.
same thing in politics. You know what the Democrats and Republicans do? Whenever they want to pass a bill that they know that the American people are going to hate, that would cause any of them to not get reelected, you know what they do? They reach out, the Democrats and the Republicans reach out, they hold hands, and they say, let's all make this really ugly decision together. So, because we know they're going to be pissed, but
Mm-hmm.
they won't. But if all of us are standing together, there's 100 of us, they won't know which person they get pissed at. They'll just be pissed at Congress, but they can't point at one particular person. And that
Yeah.
to me is just common sense, but it requires you to get past your ego. Where I kind of am curious about Diddy, and I think he made a crucial mistake, is I think he was very lucky to be loved as much as he was for 20 years. He
Yeah.
was like this Peter Pan figure. Remember, 5, 6 years ago, he was doing vote or die campaigns down with the
Yeah.
Democrats, hanging out with Obama. The
Yeah.
Democrats loved him because they're like, oh, black people will do whatever he says. And so he was fortunate to get to that point without any major crisis taking him down. If I were him at that point, I would have took all those hundreds of millions and started investing in other entities, other people, spreading my stuff out, so that in case my reputation this takes a nosedive, my family's going to be good. And I don't know if he did that. Maybe he did some of that, but I
Yeah.
didn't see anything apparent there.
Yeah. I just think that he never thought. I don't think he ever thought. I know that we keep saying like he knows who he is and all of that, but I don't think he ever really thought he was touchable. Touchable. I don't think he ever thought that he would be brought down. Like I said, the videos are still there. The baby oil was there. The 786 dildos were there. Like all the things were there. And he
Why does it got to be 786?
Why was there 786
Why
dildos
can't it
at
be
your
like he had
house?
hundreds of? I mean, 786. Like that's the exact, not 784.
No,
Not
that's how many. I'd have hate to be the counter. I'd have hate to be the person counting. Like, this is 700, 700, like 800. Like, what?
somebody had to count that. There's
Somebody had to
somebody.
count all the baby oils. Who did that?
The
Like,
evidence manager is pissed right now. He's like, man, F this damn job. I'm out
yes,
of
he
here.
hates his job. He gotta like they gotta clock everything in as evidence. Can you imagine? Oh my God. And we don't even know what else they found. So it's like we now know that at least 1,786 items were part of the investigation.
Well,
Ew.
Carrie says because it was a freak off. That's true. Now you know how to. There's almost like, maybe it's like preparing for a picnic or like a family dinner. You got to know how much chicken to have and how much the green beans. So now you got to know how. Now y'all know how much baby oil you need for a proper freak off. So there we go. There's a lesson in
So
everything.
So supposedly, like before he had the freak offs, like he would have somebody prep the room. So I guess so there was always baby oil, like baby oil was there. Obviously, dildos were a part. Like they would prep the rooms, drugs, dildos, and baby oil, and whatever else. But I just
That'll
think it's
do it.
so unfortunate, boys. Like I do think I had a mentor that worked with Diddy very closely, and I would hear all of these stories, and she was just like, I didn't necessarily think that he was a genius, but I thought he was brave and he wasn't scared to do the things, and he knew how to pull the right people together. And I think that's a talent. Being a producer myself, I understand that you have to have an eye for pulling together the right people and doing the right things, and just the timing of it all, right? So I think that he was amazing in that way. But I mean, she had her stories, and as she worked for Revolt, I just got the like secondhand information, and I used to be like, wow, really? Like I found
Mhm.
myself every day being like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
So I mean, I've heard the stories, I've heard them firsthand from other people that I'm really close to. And I don't yeah, I just don't have the same perspective I did of him, and that's unfortunate. Like I'm sad that I don't like Diddy anymore. My question for you boys is,
Mhm.
the people that are on these hundreds of other, these other celebrities that are on all these videos, what do you think about the people that he's going to take with him that may be half of the music industry?
I think it's interesting. Actually, before I do that, I want to let everybody know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss
And
Black Hollywood,
yeah,
and we're trying to have an elevated conversation about the Diddy stuff. I'm not just here to gossip about this man's life. He's
yeah,
got enough problems without me talking weird on the internet. And so, if you all could do us a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe, and also Tierra happens to be an expert on storytelling, and
oh,
which is really big for business. Studies show that if you can tell your business story in a good way, then you can actually increase your probability of success and opportunities. So if you want to have a consultation with her and talk to her, email info@therealnetwork.net. The information is on the screen, info@therealnetwork.net, and you can talk to her directly. And I also want to remind everybody that tomorrow morning, we every single day we do financial consciousness training. It's a free class on how to be economically alert, how to be economically intelligent, and we just talk about economics every morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, because we're serious about Black wealth as a key to Black liberation. So if you'd like to join us for Money in the Morning, you can text the word morning to the number 87948. I'll text you a wake up call tomorrow for class. So text morning to 87948. And also tomorrow, for those of you that are in the class, we are going to talk about what's going on with the Fed, and I'll answer a lot of your questions about that because the stock market's really doing well and you don't want to miss out. There's a lot of reason to really start investing. So let's get that started. Let's go get this money. Put a yes if you want to go get this money. So put morning or text the word morning to 87948. Tierra, you're invited too. All right.
come.
You coming? All right, perfect. So okay. So to answer that question about other people being involved here, here's the problem, right? To some extent, it's kind of unfair if we go back and we literally find every single friend that Diddy had and every picture he ever took and say, oh, that person must be at the freak off too because they're in the picture together. A lot of people take pictures with Diddy, or they did, they not anymore. And I think that that just that again, that's kind of the danger of celebrity in that we want to take pictures with the famous person and the it guy and everything else, but you don't know what the it guy has going on. The it guy might be the shit guy, and so now you're right. There's a lot of scrambling because Diddy wasn't just a celebrity. He was a hub of celebrities. He reminds me. He's like an Oprah or an Al Sharpton or
Yeah,
somebody who just knows everybody, just knows
yeah,
everybody who knows everybody, and people like that are fascinating to me. Like Russell Simmons was like that in the
yeah,
industry. You see what's going on with
yeah,
Russell, and I can tell y'all this too. What's interesting is I remember I've never met Diddy, but like Russell Simmons and Al Sharpton, I do
mhm,
know, and I can tell you both of those guys are very very smart. They're
yeah,
geniuses. I don't even like Sharpton politically, but he's a very smart man,
yeah,
and he would tell the best stories. It was the most fascinating thing to sit there next to him for 4 hours, and he would tell all these stories and all these celebrity names and everything, and I would just sit there fascinated, like, wow, this is really interesting. But I also got a sense it was a really weird, dangerous space because you're talking about New York, you're talking about mob boss stuff going on. I do believe that there's linkage with the mafia,
mm,
perhaps with Diddy, maybe with Sharpton. I don't know. This stuff has kind of come up, and I remember when I would go to New York, I was like, okay, if I piss off the wrong person, my car might blow up. Like and I really started thinking about that. And I was like, I don't want to really be around this space like that. Because you remember when Wendy Williams was one of the first people to really say, look, this is what's going on in hip hop. And she
yeah,
talked specifically about Diddy. Y'all remember, how many of y'all remember when Wendy Williams was calling it all out back like around 2002 or three? And Diddy ran her out of town
Yeah.
I think we owe Wendy an apology. I
Wendy
just
was the queen of gossip. Like she was the first shade room.
she
She is the
was.
queen of all of this, that culture. So
Mm.
yeah, salute to Wendy.
Yeah, yeah, and Wendy again. That's another smart one. That's what I think. That's my favorite thing about New York. Like when we done events in New York, we get a lot of support in New York, and I love that
Mhm.
because New Yorkers are special. They're super smart, very brave. They know how to
Mhm.
fight and compete. You know, so
Yes.
when you meet New Yorkers who are at the top of the pile, you know, like the Russell Simmonses and the Wendy's and all that, these people are just sharp as hell. They're just
Yeah.
able to just do. Wendy was one of the smartest people that I talked to in the entertainment space. She was a gossip queen, yeah, but she was great in
Yeah.
in what she did. So anyway, with Diddy, I think that association with the other celebrities that you talk about, that's a problem, and it's not fair. I think to taint every single person who ever went to a Diddy party in a certain way. I do think, however, though, when they mention the videotapes and the
That's
surveillance,
that's
not only
concerning.
does that make people worried, but
Yeah.
also it speaks to something more sinister going on. Remember, Diddy worked extensively with the government. Why are you doing these nasty parties and videotaping so much stuff? I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a blackmail thing going on, like a Black Epstein situation possibly that could be going on there.
Well, that's what he said. Well, I think that's what he said, right? He was recording everything that was happening at his house so that he could use it as collateral if he needed to blackmail or if he wanted people to be quiet about certain things, he would use this footage. So, it's a thing, but now that the FBI has access to it, I wonder will everybody go down? Like the ones that were participating in the freak offs. We've had these conversations about everybody from Bishop TD Jakes on down to, Jay-Z. I mean, just all
Did
these
TD
people that
Jakes
are
really go to a Diddy party? Was he really there?
who? TD Jakes?
Yeah,
Yes.
like he was really up in there. Like
What did we had I thought we got on live talking about him. Boys. Yes, yes. He was
I
at
know
the
that they're
parties.
friends, but like, so he was like really partying with Diddy.
I mean, he was at the parties. He was at the parties. I think that was the biggest thing. Like, there to represent God, of course, right? But like, who knows? Hopefully, because I love TD Jakes. Like, I'm a gospel girl. I love me some Jesus, and so what I'm hoping is that we don't see him on, these videos being swallowed up, if you know what I mean. There's a clip that's on the internet, and he literally is like, have you ever been swallowed up? And people use it to be like, oh, he was getting swallowed up at the Diddy party. So hopefully he was not
Oh,
being swallowed up.
that's just nasty. That's just wrong. Well, you know it. Well, I mean, let's just keep it. Let's keep it 100. The church got some of the craziest freaks out here. I mean, like, and it's not. And I think honestly, I wonder how much of it is like just like this suppressed sexuality. But I remember noticing a long time ago that like there's something that happens in the black church where maybe because certain things are condemned, it makes it that much more appealing, that much more fascinating for people. And
Yeah.
also we know that there is a massive amount of interesting sexual energy happening in that space. I'm not gonna indict the whole black church because I do actually I agree. I mean, I don't go to church, but I respect the black church and
Yeah.
I respect the diversity of the church. I think that the church produces a lot of different types of people. But it also does, you do have the Eddie Long situations. You have stuff like that. And I would actually be kind of sad to see TD Jakes overly connected to the downfall of Diddy because I don't think I mean I do see Jakes as a guy who does good things for the world. You
Yes,
know, um,
absolutely he does.
yeah, he's a great speaker. He has great messages. He shares great knowledge with people. But and then the question also becomes like if you think specifically about what Diddy has been accused of, yeah, you got the sexual stuff, the dildos and the baby oil, which is really funny in a way, but it's not funny if it was used to violate another person. But then
Right.
there's the criminal aspect of it, where and they're using RICO charge language.
Yeah.
The conspiracy with his enterprise to do blah 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 and intimidate witnesses. There's a whole lot of other stuff there involving guns and violating people and
Yeah.
witness tampering and threatening people and blowing things up, and TD Jakes, there's nothing to say that he would ever be involved in any of that, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to kind of say, okay, let's say that secretly you were a guy that said, hey, I want to go get lubed up at a Diddy party, but it's not against my will, and I want to go have some fun. I don't think that's not criminal. That's not the criminal part. The
No.
criminal part is when you get into the trafficking and the exploitation and threatening and taking things that don't belong to you. So I think that we had to make a difference between consenting adults who get together and do freaky stuff versus people that were just legitimate victims. Like maybe you went to the party and somebody drugged you. I think that's I think Hollywood does a lot of that. I think they drug people to get them in an altered state of mind, to get you to do things you wouldn't normally do, and then it's all videotaped, and so therefore you are you're kind of you're kind of presented, you're blackmailed for life now, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, damn, I didn't even know that this was in the punch that I drank. And I
Yeah.
think that's the stuff. And this to me is also the part, Tierra, where I think black people have to be warned. You got to protect your kids from this celebrity culture. A lot of y'all got kids that want to go into entertainment. They want to be singers, dancers, actresses. They want to be in the videos with the hip hop artists. And a lot of these artists are freaking degenerates. They are
Yes.
crazy. They will do all kinds of nasty stuff to your daughter and to your son. So
Yeah.
why would you sit? I know somebody in my family who they could sing, and of course the dream is to be discovered. And he got discovered at church, and he went on the road with a group in L.A. and when he was 15, and he came back with a cocaine addiction.
Yep.
15, 16 years old, came back using coke.
Yep.
So here's what happened to this kid. He spent the next 30 years fighting his drug addiction, ruining his life, getting locked up,
Yep.
just becoming like so bad that we couldn't even talk to him halfway because we were so worried about him taking our stuff or hurting us. And then he died not too long ago. He died maybe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So everything he thought was a dream. This is what's important for black people to understand. Sometimes everything you think is a dream is really a nightmare. Like you
Yeah.
think it's a gift from God when really it's a trap from the devil. The
Yep.
devil can bless you too, as D1 likes to say. The devil can bless you too. Hollywood, that culture, that's 80% devil to me.
Yeah.
When you talk about the drugs and the irresponsible sexuality and everything else, that's the kind of stuff where you go out there think with all these big dreams, thinking your dreams are going to come true. You finally meet the celebrity that's going to get you to the next level, and then next thing you know, 5-10 years later, you're ready to write a tell-all book about the nightmare you went through. Well, it sounds to me like you had the wrong damn dream.
Yeah. Boyce, you have to know who you are before you get here. I can't stress that enough. And you just kind of have to know where you'll stop. Because you will be tempted by all the things. Like, thank God drugs and alcohol can just have never been my thing. I've seen it ruin family members. I still have a a father who is running around using heroin and fentanyl to this day. So it never really tempted me personally. But I just think that when you get on this bus and you realize that this town right here that I'm currently sitting in, that you are talking about, you have to make a decision.
Mm,
You have to have a compass, right? I go to church and a lot of that is like it just kind of gave me a compass. That's too much. That's
mm,
too much. If that's what you're asking me to do, I just got to figure it out another way. I've definitely been, and I've shared these stories again and again. I've went in for auditions, booked the role, and 15 minutes later, the director called me talking about, yeah, so now that you my lead actress, what you gonna do for me? I'm not gonna do anything for you. Do I get to work, or like what are you asking me? Because I'm not about to slob on
mm,
your knob or whatever you want me to do. I'm not doing that. So
mm.
there's a lot of reasons why I just kind of was able to just avoid that. But it really was me saying, look, I'm not gonna do that.
Well. By the way, before I let Tierra get the last word today, I wanted to tell you all that I'm talking to Tierra KJ Williams, and we're talking about this whole Diddy thing and kind of looking at the life and business lessons that come out of it. We're not here to just gossip about it. I mean, it's fun. It's a little bit funny, but it's not funny in the sense that there were real victims,
Yeah.
and he is going to pay real consequences. So if
Mhm.
y'all could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, Tierra happens to be an expert on using storytelling to build your business. She is a a very experienced Hollywood storyteller. And so, if you'd like to meet with her and talk to her about your business and how to strengthen what you have, so that you can actually go to the next level, email info@therealnetwork.net. It's real is spelled REEL, and then it's .net, not .com. So info@therealnetwork.net. Also, I want to remind everybody, Tierra is also going to be at the All Black National Convention with us. And the All Black National Convention is the largest gathering on earth of intelligent Black people, where we solve our own problems. We put our kids in strong economic positions so they don't have to go to Diddy parties to get ahead. They're not out looking for somebody to save them. We're building wealth for our kids. We're educating our kids. We're getting our community ready. My wife, Dr. Boyce Watkins, is going to be there. She's going to bring a lot of other therapists there so that we can heal, so that we don't need this false validation from this corrupt, dysfunctional culture. We're not going out there financially desperate. And this leads to my next point, Tierra.
Yeah.
And by the way, the URL is allblacknationalconvention.com. So you guys can write that down and check it out if you're interested in participating. So this leads to my last question for you. I think that what tends to happen too, the devil tends to take advantage of your deficiencies, just like a pimp. That's what a pimp does. The devil is a big old pimp to some extent, in the sense that pimps know how to spot people who are deficient in some area, right?
Yes.
When a pimp like a Diddy, is taking advantage of somebody, they don't do that to everybody.
No.
I guarantee you, he doesn't treat everyone the same. He doesn't treat all women the same.
That's
I
right.
think that there is a radar where they can tell if you're deficient. So
Yep.
if you're like the little girl who never had a daddy show any affection to her, then the pimp is going to smell that. If you
Yep.
are financially desperate and you have an economic deficiency where you'll do anything to get a little bit of money, the pimp can smell that, right?
Yep.
If you are stuck and you have no opportunities and nowhere to go, the pimp can smell that. If you need validation, the pimp can smell that. And I think that this speaks to us really raising the kinds of children in our communities that show up. They can still try to, participate in the Hollywood stuff and entertainment and all that, but they're showing up as a whole human being.
Yes.
And not as a desperate, deficient person that will do anything in order to get ahead.
Yes.
Right? What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, you hit the nail. Listen, you was preaching. Like you was preaching just
Was I
now.
preaching? Like
Yes.
Pastor Jace? Yes, Lord.
Yes. Let me tell you something. I've sat with a lot of people that you guys know and love out there. I've sat and had conversations with R. Kelly. I've sat and had conversations with Tyrese. I mean, just all kinds of people. And never, ever, 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 ever was he like, let me pee on you. Never, never. Because here's the thing. It's like I just kind of I walked in, right? I walked in myself, even if there were things that at the time I was like, oh, I'm on my last $20. Like nobody knew that, because I still wasn't willing to go. And so I think that is so important. Boyce, everything that you say and everything that you've said is so important. If you're going to send your children, or you yourself are going to move to a town, whether it's LA, Atlanta, New York, and pursue an artistic career, I think that it's important just to know that. You don't have to come to Hollywood to create Hollywood. I believe that. I think you can create Hollywood wherever you are. But if you find yourself in these spaces, just make sure that you know who you are and you can't be exploited by the Diddy types, because they are out there and they are predators and they are looking for people like you said, that are deficient. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Cassie was deficient.
Mm,
She has some issues, and he sensed that. He knew that. She's
mm.
19 years old. I can take you and do whatever. Go shave your hair on the side. She went in the bathroom and literally shaved her head on the side and was like, whatever Sean wants. And young Jock was like, oh my God. Like, wow. Why did she was like, whatever Sean wants.
Wow, that's
Yes,
crazy.
that's the story behind why her hair was shaved. And then the next day she came out and was like, oh, I just wanted something different. No, like literally, Diddy saw somebody in the party and was like, oh, that's cool. I like how she got her hair shaved like that. Cassie, go shave your head. Like, ladies, like, don't let people take advantage of you like that.
Whew, oof, that's deep.
Yeah,
I watched this documentary about Arnold Schwarzenegger on Netflix. Did you see it?
I didn't. I saw half of it, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's really good, and he's talking about how he got his career going in Hollywood and all that, and he worked and became Mr. Universe and stuff, but he was trying to break into acting,
Remember
and they
that.
were like, do you want to be an actor? And he's like, no, I don't want to be an actor. I want to be a leading man.
I remember that.
And he said that he was able to turn down a lot of opportunities and roles that didn't fit what his vision was, because he said, how he talks. He's like, I was already a millionaire from real estate. So he
Yeah.
had already started investing in real estate in the 70s
Yeah.
and had all this property. And so he was making money. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When you show up and you already have a financial plan, you don't take any scraps anybody offers you. This is
Yes.
why it's very important for all of us to be financially intelligent and financially prepared. Because if you, or especially your child, your grandchild shows up and they're like, look, I got a rich daddy at home who's already paid, making sure my bills are paid. Or I already have, I have 10 different ways to make money. Acting might be one of them. I don't even want to make money from acting. Then that allows them to kind of have that leeway to negotiate a little bit more. We show up in entertainment, this is what colonialism does. The colonizers, like, these Negroes ain't got no money, they don't have no hope, they don't have no self-respect, they only like themselves if we like them. So I'm going to use that to my advantage.
Yeah.
And they take advantage of us. When I talked to our 14-year-old about her dance career, she wants to be a singer, dancer, and actress.
Yeah.
I said, okay, do all that, you love all that, you're good at all that. I said, but I'm going to make sure you're not financially desperate in that industry, because they will chew you up and spit you out if they
All
know
day.
that you need to do only God knows what to get the rent paid. And also, I said, I want you to be financially intelligent so you'll understand how this industry works, not just on the stage, but who owns the stage, who
Yeah.
built the stage, who financed the stage. So we talk about Tyler Perry. I say, Tyler Perry, he ain't the most talented actor, writer, producer, or nothing in Hollywood. He's not. He's great though, but he's great at what he did. Because I said Tyler Perry makes a movie and makes himself the star, and then puts himself in whatever role he wants to be in. So he positioned himself in that particular space as an economic god. And I think it's out of fairness, even though I might make jokes about all the Medea movies and all that, and I don't watch Tyler Perry movies, I ain't gonna lie, but I gotta give him credit. The man had a business model, a freaking business model. So,
Yeah.
so go into entertainment with a damn business model instead of being another Negro looking for a job.
Yes. Can I
That.
also
Oh,
can I
please.
also add to that?
Yeah.
I love as a parent that you're telling your daughter that, because there's so many kids that are sent to Hollywood that are literally exploited by their parents, right? They send them and they say, like, girl, go up there and sing that song. I'm gonna let you spend all this time with Diddy. I'm gonna let you spend all I'm gonna literally Justin Bieber was given to Diddy, right?
Wow.
Usher was given to Diddy. Aaliyah was given to somebody else, and there's no shade to their family, but I think people are way too trusting with people they don't know. It's like, well, he's a professional. Go ahead, Sarah, go and live with him for a year or whatever. And I think it puts those, I mean, we're seeing, I think, the result of that in some situations. But I think even when I think about Cassie, I think about her going home with a black eye and her mom not saying, like, you're never going back there. I don't care. But something, her mama didn't say that. Like, she sent her back on to Diddy. She rubbed her up and sent her back because she went back. Like, it don't make sense to me. So sometimes I think that parents are also at fault for what happens to these babies.
Mm. Well, you said it all. You said it all. And on that note, I think it's time for us to go ahead and finish the conversation.
Yes.
And by the way, everybody, I'm about to do our Powernomics training for this week. So if you want to join us, actually, I'm going to send out a text and invite everybody in. Text the word greatness to 87948. Text greatness to 87948, and I will text you the link to join us. We're going to read Dr. Claude Anderson books tonight. We do this every Wednesday night. We've been doing this for 5 or 6 years consistently, and it's free. So if you want to understand our history economically, why we deserve reparations, what this great man put in his books, you don't have to read the books if you don't want to. I can read them for you. And so if you'd like to join us, just text the word greatness to 87948. Thank you, Trey, for putting that in the chat. I appreciate that. I will hit you all up with a text message in a couple minutes because we're going to start in 12 minutes. Last but not least, Tiara KJ Williams is our guest for today. Tiara, her email address, if you want to talk to her about using storytelling to build your business brand. Stories are shown to be powerful when it comes to building a business. And if you get people to connect to your story, it'll make you some money. It'll help your business go to the next
Absolutely.
level. And I want to see you win. So
Yeah.
Tiara, her email address is info@therealnetwork.net. So email her if you want to talk about what you're doing with your business, get an idea, get some help, get some support. Don't do it all by yourself. There are people out there that can help you. Tierra is one of them. So it's info@therealnetwork.net. The real is spelled with 2 E's, and it's .net, not .com. So thank you all for hanging out. God bless you. Hit that thumbs up button. And I'll see you all either in Powernomics class or tomorrow morning for Money in the Morning. We're always doing stuff for you in the Black Business School because I want you to be smart so you ain't got to go get lubed up at a Diddy party. How about that? There we go.
Boyce,
Yes.
can you also let the people know that I produce a show on Fly Nubian Queen called Fly Nubian Money every morning, or every morning. Well, it's afternoon. It's from 1 to 2 p.m. EST, where we talk about all types of conversations. I know you guys love financial conversations, so we talk about it from a woman's perspective. So all you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948.
There we go. So text Queen State 7948 if
Mhm.
you respect the voices of intelligent Black women, and they will invite you to their show, which they do every single day at 1 p.m. Eastern. So,
Yes.
so yeah, we got to start listening to the right people instead of listening to
Yes.
rappers all the time. There's actually smart Black people that you're ignoring because you're paying attention to rappers who want to lube you up. So let's not get caught. I'm going to be making jokes about
Don't slip and slide. Don't slip and slide away from
that.
us.
Don't get caught slipping. Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Anyway, y'all have a good night. We will see you later. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Don't be a dildo.